Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chrissy and this is Barefoot in the Garden. I'm trying out something different this year. Last year I was really discouraged with the fact that I didn't have a greenhouse and I felt like I was unable to start some seeds earlier than the season called for. This year I came across a really unique method that they call the winter sowing method. So with winter sowing, you pretty much just sow your seeds in the winter. No need for a heated greenhouse, no need for a high tunnel. This is a way that you can start your seeds in the colder season without a greenhouse. It really intrigued me because I was always under the impression that you needed either a high tunnel or some sort of greenhouse that was heated in order to start your seeds before springtime. So when I came across winter sowing, I was super stoked that there's another way to start your seeds. So today I'm just gonna be starting my first set of winter sown seeds. I'm gonna go ahead and just go with Snapdragons today because I know that these are pretty cold hardy and that they'll do well in these low temperatures. So we have the night and day variety from Botanical Interest, and we also have the tall maximum blend, which is a variety of beautiful colors. One thing that I really love about this method is that you recycle. So I'm just gonna be using these 1 gallon plastic water containers. You can use a milk jug. I've seen some people even use soda pop bottles, as long as they're tall enough and wide enough to hold a good amount of soil and a good amount of seeds. So I'm just gonna cut off the label. And then I'm gonna cut about halfway into the bottle so that I have enough storage for soil and then a lip and then where the seedling is gonna be growing up. Who else uses their Cricut scissors for more than just their Cricut? They're so sharp and they just cut really crisp lines. I've grown to really love these scissors. I'm gonna leave some of it attached so that I can open and close, and you don't need the tops. You want to make sure to write the name of what you're starting in the bottle, because if you plan to do a lot of winter sowing like myself, you might lose track of what you started. So just go ahead and write the name on it before you plant it. Snapdragon tall max blend. And I'm gonna write it on here more than once just in case some of it washes off. I'll still have a backup. And I'm also gonna write the date. So that's what you have. I have some coconut coir in here and I just added in some vermiculite. I'm gonna go ahead and mix that around. You can use whatever starting medium that you prefer. I just picked up some coconut coir because I really enjoy this stuff. So that's what we're gonna be using. I'm always the type of person that looks at things with more than one way that you can get it done. So when I was always hearing that you needed a heated greenhouse, it just didn't make sense to me. Or like if you need grow lights in order to start your seeds early, like it just never made sense to me that you need electricity to grow something that's naturally there without your help. Seeds grow in the wild without any grow lights or heated greenhouses. That's really one reason why I was just so happy to come across winter sowing, because it just reinforced what I've always thought. Like, you don't need all this extra expensive stuff in order to have a successful garden. You just really don't. You also want to make sure that you have drainage holes because you don't want your seedlings to drown out. You want to do this part before you fill it up with soil because it's just not going to work. Been there, done that. All right, so now I'm going to fill them with soil. You want to make sure that you put enough soil in the container so that the roots have room to grow down. You don't want to have too thin of a layer of soil that the roots get root bound really quickly. These guys are going to stay in here until about the end of March. So I want to make sure that they have enough growing medium to kind of establish themselves before I have to move them outside. So if you buy your own seed starting mix already pre-packaged and you don't mix it like I did, you'll already have either perlite or vermiculite inside, and that just pretty much acts as an aeration for the soil so that the roots can get plenty of oxygen and that your soil just doesn't become really compact and kind of smother out those baby roots. If you just go with a solid soil mixture that is made for beds, it doesn't have the right amount of aeration in it, and you'll kind of stunt the progress of your plants if you go that way. I either recommend you buying a seed starting mix or just grabbing some perlite or vermiculite to add to your soil that you're going to use. Now that we have both of those mixed up and in the container, I'm just going to clean my hand off. So this is my first time starting Snapdragons, so I'm gonna read the back of the packet before I start. So it gives me some information on when to start the seeds, and here it says when to start inside. Recommended 8 to 10 weeks before your average last frost, so we're about at 8 weeks. And special germination instructions: light aids germination. Press seeds into soil surface. Freezing seeds for 48 hours prior to sowing can also aid germination. So that's one reason why it's really important to read the seed packet, guys, because if I would have read before starting today, I would know that I needed to put my seeds in the freezer for 2 days before I sow them. So I'm gonna start half of the packet today without freezing them, and then I'll throw the rest of the packet in the freezer, freeze it for 48 hours, and then I'll come out and I'll start a second sowing of these guys, just as a little experiment to see that if the freezing stratification method really increases your germination rate. It says that they take 10 to 15 days to emerge from the soil. Seed depth is sowing on the surface, and then it also tells you to thin out your seedlings once they reach a certain height. So these seeds are so small, I could fill them all around in the packet. Oh, I'm getting wet. My drainage holes are working well because I'm getting really wet through the glove. So I'm gonna be really careful opening this pack because I don't want to lose any of these seeds. They're super small. I think I might have gotten some on my hand. All right, so I don't want to waste any, so I'm gonna be really careful as I'm pouring them out. Oops. So I think that looks about good. Maybe got 30 to 45, maybe even 50 seeds in there. And then I'm just gonna take my mister and I'm just gonna give them a little bit of liquid encouragement. So there's the night and day. And then we're gonna do the tall maximum blend next. Tap, tap, tappity, tap, tap, tappity, tap, tap, tappity, tap, tap, tappity. What movie is that from? Y'all drop down in the comment section. Some more liquid encouragement. That'll help wash some of the soil. on top of the seeds. I just want to pause real quick. If you don't have a shelter to store your containers in, don't be afraid to set them just out in the open like this photo you see. A lot of people don't have a place to put their containers, so they just set them out and they do just fine. The weather is so cool here that I'm probably not going to have to water these guys too much, but I will check in with them every 3 or 4 days just to see if they're drying out, and I'll give them a little mist. If you haven't heard of winter sowing yet, I really encourage you guys to do a little research on it. It's an amazing method that you can incorporate into your garden so that you can get things started way earlier than you thought you'd be able to. Thanks so much for watching today. If you enjoyed this footage, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, I encourage you guys to subscribe so that you don't miss any of my updates and my upcoming videos. Until then, guys, keep growing your own food, stay safe, and be blessed.